We go now to Mr. Davies. Mr. Davies, go ahead, please, 6 minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Kalyan. Having sort of watched the last year and a half, Canada rolling out our vaccine production and procurement and delivery strategy, what are your main takeaways for us?
The COVID-19 pandemic has really provided an important opportunity to identify and rectify our deficiencies in having a cogent plan to deal with emerging infectious threats that take into account not only the short immunological health of Canadians, but also the long-term health. And this is sort of a nice segue from what Dr. Shana Bomji was speaking to. So my first wish would be for the immediate response would be to immediately diversify our portfolio, the type of vaccines we have in Canada, specifically procuring or acquiring in some way whole inactivated vaccines. As I mentioned, one was just authorized by the World Health Organization for emergency use, and another that I particularly favor due to its formulation is in development also by Valneva in the UK, National Institutes of Health, for example. They're in phase 3 development, and they have been looking at Canada for a potential phase 3 trial site, and I'm hoping we would take advantage of that. These inactivated vaccines would be better booster shots for people who already had COVID-19 and recovered, because would be able to retain that more fulsome memory. Secondly, we need to ensure we have capabilities to develop a vaccine of our own preference and design in Canada. We have no GMP facility here at this moment, and this is not new. We've heard this a lot about this. India has facilities, China, Kazakhstan has their own facility, and they've all developed inactivated vaccines for their population. So this not having this capacity and expertise, I would say, has left us vulnerable and potentially at whim of external interests, which is, I think, what we're beholden to at this time. And thirdly, we need to ensure we have a more diverse expertise to advise on vaccine development and or procurement, which includes a deeper understanding of the immune system and what constitutes immune competency to a given pathogen. And lastly, I would say we need to make it a policy for drugs, particularly vaccines and immunotherapies that are approved in Canada, to include sex-based dosing analysis for both safety and efficacy.
So what specifically are the sort of unknown concerns with the new gene delivery platform vaccines that we are using?
Yeah, so what we don't know is what we don't know. We have no clear, for me, I think one of the biggest black holes is we have no clear biodistribution or in situ expression data for these gene delivery vectors, meaning we don't know where these go and where they're being expressed. As an immunologist, it's still unclear to me how these expressed proteins are presented to the immune system. Typically, our immune system relies on a danger signal, or what we call pathogen-associated molecular patterns, or PAMPs, and this helps us differentiate self from non-self and what's dangerous from not dangerous, to launch an appropriate type of immune response. So antiviral immunity is different from antifungal immunity, which is different from antiparasitic. These strategies are different. So in respect, for example, to the lead mRNA vaccine candidates we have, I don't see where that instructive information is contained for the immune system to know what exactly it's supposed to be fighting. It's like eliciting an answer without knowing what the question is. So the long-term consequence of this immune ambivalence is, I think, yet to be determined. And lastly, in terms of the DNA vector vaccines, we have not evaluated, and we should, so I would add that to my wish list, is the antibody and immune response to the adenovirus vector itself, the thing carrying the message. So presumably we would be generating a pretty strong response to the vector, which theoretically means that each subsequent booster shot would elicit a lower immune response to the message, because the messenger is being wiped out before it delivers it. But we've not asked for any of this sort of more detailed nuance. We could be giving booster shots eventually by the third time, and they're just blanks for our immune system, and we're not launching a sufficient immune response to the spike protein in which is being encoded in the message there.
Okay, I'm gonna throw two questions in one here. Why do you prefer live attenuated vaccines for children? And second, I'm interested in the women. I think women are generally not considered in our sort of male-dominated healthcare system. We know that women bear the brunt of experiencing more severe adverse events related to vaccination. You commented on that. We know that women have twice as many antibodies as men, and we know that they have increased susceptibility to autoimmune diseases, yet we're giving the exact same medication, the exact same dose to women. So children and women, what's your position on that?
Yeah, so I'll take the easier question first. For the live attenuated vaccines, they engage and train all parts of the immune system. So it acts as one, which includes training the innate immune system, which also has a type of memory that's contained in the at the epigenetic level, and mobilizing the response of the adaptive immune system to respond appropriately to a given type of pathogen. So multiple studies have shown this type of training provided by live attenuated vaccines protects kids not only against specific pathogens that are target of the vaccine, but also provides a more broader range of protection against immune pathologies. For example, the BCG vaccine, which is a really old school live attenuated vaccine, is now being tested for the treatment of type diabetes, for example. So young immune systems require this education and exercise, if you will, to function properly, just like other complex systems like muscles, bones, and language acquisition. In respect to women, this is not new. It has been forever. I think a large part is drug development doesn't want to make anything more complicated than necessary, and looking at sex-based differences have been ignored across the board. But I think when it comes to the immune system, given the profound difference, it is unfortunate that we continue to have a regression to the mean, essentially, is what we do, and women tend to bear the brunt for things like vaccination, and we really should be looking for more sex-based analysis in terms of dosing and safety.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Mr. Davies. So that wraps up